right, welcome back to Live at 9. It's Wellness Wednesday, and scientists, they have found a new groundbreaking way to screen for certain types of cancer. Here to help us understand what that means for us is our friend and Mississippi's favorite doctor, Dr. Quinn. Good morning, Dr. Quinn.
Good morning.
So what exactly are we talking about with this new groundbreaking way to screen for cancer?
Well, I just want to share a scenario, Gracie, about a patient that comes every year. He has no chronic medical conditions. He only comes for his physical every year, or if he gets sick with a cold or something. And this past year, he turned 65, so he now has Medicare Part B. And we went over his history, and we noted that every year we sign him up for a colonoscopy, and he always cancels it. And I asked him, why do you always cancel it? He said, Dr. Quinn, I'm just going to be honest. Like I told you last year, I'm just scared. He told me that he keeps talking to his friends that have had the test, and they tell him about the protocol that goes before the test, where you have to drink that solution and you don't get to eat for an extended period of time.
Right.
And then when you go get the test, you have to get sedated where you're not conscious and someone has to drive you home. And this year he added that he heard about someone in another state that had a complication that's extremely rare, where there was a rupture of the colon during the test. And he said, Dr. Quinn, I'm just not going to get the test. Don't even sign me up. And then I just said, I have some good news. Over the last year, I learned about a new test. And because you have Medicare Part B, it's covered under the Medicare Part B. It's called the Shield test. And it's a simple blood test with a high sensitivity. And it's just like going to get your blood tested for your cholesterol, your PSA, or diabetes. You do the blood test, and within 2 weeks, I call you with your results. And if it's negative, you're good. You don't even have to get the colonoscopy now.
Wow.
And he was really happy about that. And, you know, he said, sign me up. So we signed him up, and he'll get his blood test. We didn't have it at the clinic. It has to get delivered. He'll come back and we'll draw the blood, and he'll be screened.
Absolutely. I mean, Dr. Quinn, that sounds like it's a huge difference from the ways that we used to test for or have a colonoscopy done, but now for testing for colon cancer and other problems with our colon, that this is probably revolutionary. So how long has this been available for certain patients?
Well, it got approved by the FDA in 2024, which was 2 years ago, July 2024 to be exact. But the testing is, the research has been going on for over 10 years. And the scientists have concluded that the test has a sensitivity of 83%, which is really good. It's not perfect, but in my opinion, colonoscopy is the gold standard. But at the end of the day, the test that gets done is the best test.
Absolutely.
And this test has a much higher chance of getting done because there's not all the fear associated with it. It makes people feel more at ease. They just get the blood draw. I mean, but if the test comes back positive, then we send them for a colonoscopy just to make sure. And then with the colonoscopy, if they do have cancer, it can be removed during the procedure, and that person's life could be saved, and they can talk about it. They can live to talk about the experience. This is just revolutionary.
Absolutely, Dr. Quinn. And you said, too, that the gold standard is still a colonoscopy, but it sounds like this new way of testing for patients that say, hey, I don't want to test at all because this is too difficult, it's still very effective and it's efficient, right? If you're not going to get screened at all, this is a really good route to go. So how do you encourage our viewers to maybe inquire about this type of testing if they have never had screening done before?
Well, first, I just want to remind that colorectal cancer is the fourth leading cause of cancer in adults in America. It's the second leading cause of death from cancer in America. But for people under 50 years old, it's the #1 cause of death from cancer. So it's so important that we get this screening. And the beautiful thing about colorectal cancer, if you catch it at the earlier stages, it's treatable, meaning that you can live. You won't lose your life. And the test actually tests for DNA fragments in the blood because these these cancer cells in your colon, they give off certain DNA fragments that can be detected with this Shield blood test. It could be the difference between life and death. And as I said, the best test is a test that gets done.
Absolutely, Dr. Quinn. I mean, very, very crazy statistics that you mentioned, but that's why we need to start with taking preventative action, right? Getting those tests done. And like you mentioned, during that colonoscopy, if colon cancer is found, your life could be saved right there by finding it earlier rather than later. So is there anything else that you want to leave with our viewers about this new screening available and specifically for colon cancer?
Well, the only thing I want to leave is what you just said. If you catch it early, like me personally, I had brain cancer, and I caught it in the beginning stages. They were able to go in and scoop it out, and I am over 2 years MRI free.
Wow.
Meaning that, you know, if you catch it early, you can save your life, and you can be on WJTV and just tell people, you know, you can live. You don't have to die.
Yeah.